know that it also sings in me as I give it expression. I feel the throb of life in all the harmony of form around me, in tree and flower and grass, in blue sky and clouds, in the beauty of evening sunset. Wherever I look, I hear and feel the underlying joyous note that life sings and that comes to its culmination in spirit, made manifest through each human being. Now let us enter into a period of silent meditation for about 15 minutes, and I will bring you out of the meditation. slowly, gently bring your consciousness back into the room. And now close today's meditation with the remainder of the reading by Ernest Holmes. Now, deep within my innermost being, I attune myself to the God-conscious being that I truly am. I permit God's perfect idea of me to manifest, to flow forth into expression. I know that I, God's perfect expression, cannot contain grief, sadness, inharmony. I know that in my true self I am joy, for I am God life. My life is buoyant, vivacious, sparkling, free. It contains all good. It is unity, perfection, and love. And so I know that nothing can make me, the real me, sad or dejected or heavy-hearted. Thank you for joining us today for meditation to prepare the space for our service. And they'll start at 10:45.
largest global laboratory. And she created that global laboratory in order to test some of the first controlled experiments on the power of mass intention. So getting a group of people to intend a particular thing over a particular amount of time. In the 39 experiments, and because they are experiments, they can check on the validity or the power of the intention itself. So in 39 experiments, Lynn has run to date 35 evidenced positive, measurable, and significant change in a particular city, in a particular person, in a particular prison, wherever and whatever that intention was about. Now recently, she has taken on another intention experiment. From February 25th to March 4th, she conducted an intention experiment for Ukraine. I didn't even know this was happening. Many people probably didn't. Every morning at 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, she conducted a live intention experiment on her Facebook page. As she wrote in her blog, the basic practice was to hold this intention for 10 minutes. Our intention is that peace be immediately, completely, and permanently restored in Ukraine with no further loss of life, and that the country maintain its sovereignty as an independent democratic nation. So people would go to that site and they would hold that intention for 10 minutes. Some people suggested the scope broadened to include Russia, support for the protesters and the young disillusioned draft soldiers, and that was done in response to her readers. Great, right? Exciting, really wonderful. But does it work? Does prayer really have that kind of power? So people were asking those questions of her. And in her recent blog, she said, I want to encourage all you prayer warriors with the words that I hear from soldiers and regular people all over Ukraine. We feel the prayer support. Sometimes some unexplainable things are happening, as if some unseen hand pushes bullets and rockets away from us and they fly past us. We come out victorious from very tough situations as if someone is walking with us. We become invisible for the enemy while we see everything and even in the darkness, and we have knowledge of what to do and how to do it. This encourages us and gives us strength. We believe that the Lord Jesus Christ is for Ukraine. Please do not stop. Keep supporting us in prayer. We need it. So the invitation today is to continue to pray, or to begin praying if you haven't been praying. To bless everyone involved from a deep awareness of our unity with all sentient beings, and to know that as we raise our own vibrational level, that we raise the vibrational level of the entire planet. It truly is the way that it works. To bless everyone involved, knowing that when we bless someone or something, we are seeing beyond the material evidence to the omnipresent spiritual reality behind it. We are calling that forward. Prayer works. Blessing people in situations can heal time and time again. So the invitation today is to bless all Ukrainians, including individuals and families, children and adults alike, really honoring their courage and their strength in the face of this terrible invasion. We wrap them in the transformative power of the peace that passes all understanding, assisting them to believe in the possibility of rebuilding their lives. We bless the Ukrainian government, knowing that it has the wisdom to make extremely tough decisions that are being called for. We bless the Russians, so that despite the plans of their leaders, they may, even in this impossible situation, manifest love and kindness rather than cruelty and destructiveness. We shower President Putin with love so that his plan may sooner or later give way to wisdom and compassion. And finally, we bless our own selves for our faith in the way that it works, and for that which is actually doing the work, the power and the presence of the divine within us and surrounding us. So I thank you ahead of time for continuing to pray, knowing absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt that it works. And so it is. And so it is. So I now take a moment to thank Diane for her beautiful meditation this morning, for enlarging the container that our service will unfold within. And speaking of Diane, our wonderful licensed spiritual practitioner, let's welcome her back to the podium, Diane Carnes.
Good morning, everybody. The theme for the year of 2022 is Living Everyday Wonder. Our theme for the month of March is Play. Reverend Dusty's talk title today is I'll Rest When I'm Dead. And I am now going to read this community's purpose statement, and this is our reason for being here. Our purpose is to experience themselves as unique and individualized expressions of God, the love intelligence that governs the universe. We are committed to not merely a theoretical understanding of our oneness and unity with God, but to consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through celebration, service, study, and fellowship, we are committed to the transformation of our personal lives, a powerful and beneficial presence on the planet. With the energy of unconditional love, simply we are here for God. Now, if you would, turn within, open your hearts, your mind, and allow the healing sounds of the crystal bowls to simply wash over you.
into your bodies, come back into your room. Open your eyes once again. And welcome, everyone. My name is Carol Cross. I'm another spiritual practitioner here with TCSL. And I am so glad to be your practitioner today. Happy first day of spring. In the Persian tradition, they call today Nowruz. And they start their new year on the first day of spring, which it feels like that today, you know, with the warm weather and flowers and us being here without masks. It feels like a brand new year. So thank you for sharing this special day with us. I would now like to ask our dear, dear friends, Susan and Ed Krupa, to come up and assist me with the blessing of all faiths. So the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living honors the diversity and threads of truth that run through all spiritual paths, as represented by this hymn. Christianity is the path of Christ consciousness, love, and forgiveness. Buddhism is the path of compassion and understanding. Judaism is the ethical path of living by sacred law. Baha'i is the path of unity and peace. Islam is the path of submission to the will of God, the highest calling. Confucianism is the path of deliberate tradition. Taoism is the natural way, the path of ultimate reality. Native American practice and shamanic traditions are the paths of primal spirituality. Shintoism is the path of tribal ancestry. Hinduism is the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. Science of mind and spirit is the path of the divine principle of love and law. And the heart represents the one heart, the one love that resides at the center of all people and all beings everywhere, with no exceptions. May peace prevail on earth through the followers of all paths. So it is. Thank you guys so much. All right, so from that unified space, I ask you to close your eyes once again as I say an invocation on the service. And it seems ironic that I close my eyes, but that's when I see the light of spirit, the light of source that is the source behind the physical light we see in this beautiful spring morning. It is the light of spirit that animates everything on our planet, in our universe. It is the light of spirit that runs through the trees and the rivers and the wind and the bugs and the bees and the birds and every creature and every non-creature, every rock, everything. And most of all, I know that that is the truth of who and what I am. I am that unquenchable light, the light of love and peace and abundance, joy, wisdom. And I know that that's not because I'm special. I know that is true of each and every one who's here with us on Sophie's, each and every one who's on via Facebook Live or YouTube, each and every one of our community, of our world, of our universe. We are all just individual sparks of the one divine flame. And that feels so good to stand in that place. And standing in that place, I know today is just going to unfold perfectly as a total experience of connection and joy and wisdom. I say a word of thanks to Desi and to her staff, our generous hosts here at Sophie's. I say a word of blessing on Heather, the miracle maker behind the mics and the cameras and the computers and everything else, I don't know, that makes it possible to share this experience with everyone. I say a word of blessing on Diane, that wonderful, serene Earth Mother Goddess who was our meditator and our platform host. blessing on Miles and Letha Costin, who I know will transcend us beyond our mortal boundaries to that space of spiritual enlightenment. And I say a word of blessing on our beloved Reverend Dusty, who I know will be just this overflowing font of inspiration and wisdom and joy. Finally, I say a word of blessing on everyone who's part of this service. Everyone who's here at Sophie's, everyone who's watching at home, whether now or in the future, it doesn't matter. It's all good because it's all God. And it is all of us who create this experience together. So knowing that this is just a gathering of like-minded spirits who know that they are the light, I turn this over to the principle of love and law that makes it happen according to our beliefs, and ask you to join me with our assertion, and so it is. All right, so the reading for today is from Sandra Dalton Smith from her book, Sacred Rest. And she says, aborting rest empties me of everything holy. It strips me of the ability to treasure life and peels away the value of being. I feel I'm nothing if I'm doing nothing. My worth is wrapped tight by endless. So I keep going round and round, each time becoming more short-tempered, more disgruntled, and more discontented. A life without periods of rest will not endure the daily grind. Rest is not for weaklings. Hollowing out space for rest is work. Finding time for rest is the hands and the feet of the promises we long to claim. It means saying no. It means having limits with ourselves. It means having limits with others. It takes courage to rest in the midst of an outcome-driven society. It takes strength to walk away from good in the pursuit of better. The people pleaser in me would rather say yes and omit the rest. I've found through the years that I can't please anyone, including myself, when I'm burnt out. Funny how everyone can smell the char of your slow burn, except the one standing in the fire. So, I know we can't wait to hear that, but to prepare us for that, we have our another beloved long-term partners in our service, Miles and Letha Costin. So, yay!
Good morning. It is always so good to be here. Thank you for having us.
Miles of highway stretched across the land. Sometimes I end up right where I began. Millions of back roads, so many paths across, where I love to wander and where I still get lost. Travel on. Travel on, travel on. It's all about the learning, all about relations, all about the journey, and it takes a lot of patience. Looking to find the love along the way. When the road gets rough, it's another thing to say. Travel on. Travel on, even when your dreams unravel. It's not where you end up, it's where you go. So travel on, travel on. My hopes and my fears in the blood, sweat, and tears keep me going year after year after year. Finally realize no matter where I go, what's packed in my soul's what I'm taking down the road. Travel on, take the broken roads and rebel. Travel on. Travel on, travel on,
Thank you very much again, Letha and Miles. Beautiful. So if I'm honest, loyal, I have authored throughout my entire filled my plate so full with things that I actually loved and really wanted to be doing, and yet realized that the only way that I could possibly get them done was to get up earlier in the morning and go to bed much later. I found that the only way I could justify my behavior was to say I'll rest when I'm dead. It made sense to me at the time. And in fact, I actually kind of wore it like a badge of honor. And I know that I'm on. So the bottom line is that we as humans have a very human tendency to get caught up in the busyness of the world. To say yes way too many times, to say yes when we should be saying no, right? I don't know about everybody else, but I'm a reformed people pleaser. And sometimes not all that reformed. But I can get caught up. I can get caught up in the busyness and all of the doingness of my life and never really carve out any time for myself or carve out any time to rest. While it's, really good and necessary at times to work, it's also very important and necessary to rest. We were meant to rest. This is the lesson of the Sabbath, right? Think about it. The creator of the entire universe and everything in it made time to rest. Not because God needed to rest, but as an example for all of us. God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. The Sabbath reminds us that ultimately we can trust God. We can trust the universe to keep the world running while we check out for a day. The Sabbath reminds us that amazingly the world won't fall apart if we're not entirely on top of every single thing in our lives for just a moment. Rest is actually a deep act of trust and faith. Never thought about it that way, I bet. So, what is this thing called rest? Rest is defined as an instant or a period of relaxing or ceasing to engage in strenuous or stressful activity in order to refresh oneself. In rest, we allow ourselves to be inactive so that we can regain strength or energy or health. Rest is needed for the body, for for a valuable quality of life, and essential for the soul. A call for regular sustained periods of rest are included in many different faith traditions across time, including Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Baha'i, and many other faith traditions. Corporate researchers tell us that rest makes us actually more productive. Doctors tell us that rest reduces stress and gives us the time to really heal our bodies. Artists tell us that rest allows us to connect with our our inner creativity, and to really be able to tap into our problem-solving capabilities. Extended periods of rest, which mean, for those of you, you're not going to like to hear this, but which really means 12 to 24 hours straight, at least once per month. I'm seeing some faces like, ooh. Gives us time to dig into the delights and the wonders of life, such as deep, lingering conversation with a really good friend, or sweet periods of meditation and self-reflection, or time to be still and to just simply listen. It brings us balance and recharges us for the next period of activity. Rest rejuvenates and restores the body and the soul. We are revived when we make time for silence, when we make time for solitude, when we make time to listen to the divinity speaking to us. Perhaps it's a walk in a park, or perhaps time spent on the edge of a big body of water. That's always my favorite thing, to rest. Resting is a balm for the soul. It brings us back to our center and assists us to refocus on what is really important in our lives, instead of spinning all around with all of the things that we've given a lot of importance to. But we can recenter ourselves and return back to our focus on what's really important in our lives. One of the great wonders of life is the sweet sense of joy and peace that comes with real, extended rest. Within rest, we interact with spirit and add depth and substance to our spiritual practice. As we let go of the race consciousness call to always be busy, or to always be in constant motion, or to overwork, we open the door to the mystical. And yet, we so rarely choose to consciously rest. And in fact, much of the time, we're actually in resistance to it. Our frenzied Western culture tells us that we don't have the time to waste, that we have to catch up, that we have to get ahead, that we have to have more, that we have to be the best. Our Western frenzied culture has us rushing around trying to counter our belief in lack and limitation. We believe that without rushing around, without constantly working, we will not have enough. We won't have enough money or resources or praise or attention. And so we keep rushing around. In the frenzy, we can hide our feelings. We are too busy to really heal a damaged relationship, or to have the difficult conversations, or to devote time and energy to self-reflection that would actually move us forward in a really powerful way. We hide from rest because in rest, we are able to truly see ourselves. And if we're being honest with ourselves, many of us aren't really sure we're ready to deal with what we find when we begin to be quiet enough to look. Brené Brown says it takes courage to say yes to rest and play in a culture where exhaustion is seen as a status symbol. Oriented culture. Although it might not be something that we ever really think about, many of us are operating from a deep-seated assumption that unless we're working hard and being productive, that we're simply wasting our time and wasting everybody else's time. In fact, it's not uncommon to have our sense of self wrapped up in how much we are actually accomplishing. Whether we're focused on our career or on our family or just simply our position in life in general. The question is, how is that working for you? Perhaps it's time to take a moment to really think about rest and to consider the possibility of reframing our view about rest, knowing that it could quite possibly be life-changing to do that. The invitation is to begin to realize the insanity of a production-oriented culture, to unwrap our sense of self from our accomplishments, to take responsibility for our lives, and to let loose the constant need for more, to embrace simplicity, and to find contentment in our current life. As I was preparing for this message, I was drawn to a book called Sacred Rest. Recover Your Life, Renew Your Energy, and Restore Your Sanity by Sandra Dalton Smith. Now, it opened my mind to a whole new way of looking at rest, something that I had never heard before, had never thought about, and it was a way that made sense to me practically, and I wanted to share a little bit about it with you today. So in her book, Sandra Dalton Smith says that we are suffering from a rest deficit. A rest deficit because we don't understand the true power of rest. According to Dalton Smith, rest should equal restoration in 7 different areas of our lives. The first type of rest we need is physical rest. So signs that we have a physical rest deficit could be aches and pains. It could be the swelling in our legs and feet after sitting at our desk for long periods of time. It could be the tension or the muscle spasms that we feel in our neck and our shoulders and our back. Physical rest can be passive or active. Physical rest includes sleeping and napping, while active rest, physical rest, means restorative activities such as yoga or stretching or massage therapy. One interesting caveat about physical rest is that sleep and rest are not interchangeable. Sleep and rest are not interchangeable. Think about the times that you chose to really catch up on your sleep by trying to get a lot of it over the weekend, right? And that you still woke up feeling like you had never even rested at all. Or think about the times when, even with a lack of sleep, you surprisingly felt rested and ready to tackle the day. So as different parts of an intricate system, sleep and rest are designed to work together. They're designed to work together to ensure that every single part of us has a way to regenerate and to restore. Sandra Dalton Smith says sleep is solely a physical activity. Rest, however, penetrates into the spiritual. Rest speaks peace in the daily storms your body, mind, and spirit encounter. Rest is what makes sleep sweet. I like that. The second type of rest is mental rest. Now, someone with a mental rest deficit, and I can relate to this one, might find themselves lying down to go to sleep at night, and your mind is racing. Sometimes mine's really even racing with really wonderful things, like really ideas and innovative things come to me, but it's still racing. And I cannot quiet it down enough to fall asleep. Or maybe you or a coworker who's often irritable and forgetful and has a difficult time concentrating on work activities. The good news is we, don't have to quit trying to go to sleep, or we don't have to quit the job. That the invitation is to schedule short breaks every 2 hours throughout the day at work, and or keep a notepad by the bed to jot down any of those really great ideas that are racing through your head, or the challenging thoughts that are racing through your head that are stopping you from being able to get to sleep. To write them down, to let them go, so that now, maybe, just maybe. The third type of rest we need is sensory rest. Bright lights, computer screens, background noise, and multiple conversations, whether they're in an office or online on Zoom, can cause our senses to feel overwhelmed. This creates a sensory rest deficit. This can be countered by doing something as simple as closing our eyes for a minute in the middle of the day. I used to always like to think that I could just go into that bathroom stall, because in that bathroom stall, I knew I wasn't going to be interrupted. I could go in that stall, close the door, close my eyes, and have a moment for myself, a moment of pure rest. Other things you can do is to intentionally unplug from electronics at the end of the day, and I think they recommend at least a half an hour before the end of the day. Intentional moments of sensory deprivation can really begin to really undo that overwhelm that we might be feeling. The fourth type of rest is creative rest. Now, the way that we can tell when we have a deficit in this particular area is that we have a hard time being innovative. We have a hard time being imagining. We have a hard time problem solving, or we have a hard time brainstorming. Sandra Dalton Smith says a lot of people over the pandemic used an excess amount of creative energy because everything as we had known it had changed. There was a lot of problem solving required, which means there was a lot of creative energy required. And most of us, because we don't see ourselves as creative, never thought about how we would pour back into that energy well as we were draining from it. You could see how that could happen, yes? Now, creative rest reawakens the awe and the wonder that is inside each and every single one of us. It's the rest that we experience when we allow ourselves to really appreciate beauty in any form. So it could be natural beauty, such as the ocean or the mountains or the trees. It could be created beauty like art or music or dance. We cannot spend 40 hours a week staring at blank or jumbled surroundings and expect to feel imaginative or passionate about anything. Much less to be able to come up with new and innovative and creative ideas. So the invitation is to take time out of each day to just appreciate beauty, to create a moment of creative rest for ourselves. The fifth type of rest is emotional rest. Emotional rest specifically refers to the rest that we experience when we can be real and authentic in how we share our feelings. There's a lot of times that we hide our feelings without ever giving them the opportunity to be exposed or to be expressed or to be healed. The symptoms of emotional rest deficit are feeling like we always have to keep our emotions in check, or feeling that we never have the freedom to truly be authentic in the way that we share what it is that we're feeling, or that we cannot share with our family and friends exactly what it is that we're feeling around the experiences that we're having, such as the pandemic, for example. Like if you felt that you had to really keep it within you and not share it with your family and friends because you were protecting them or for whatever reason it was. Emotional rest means having the time and the space to freely express our feelings and to cut back on people-pleasing. It requires the courage to authentically share the really hard things that would otherwise go unsaid. The sixth type of rest is social rest. Now, social rest is the rest that we experience around life-giving people. You can sit there and you can feel that energy, right? Most of us spend the majority of our time with people who are pulling from our social energy. Sometimes they are negative people that drain our positive energy, and at other times it's not that they're negative people, it's just that they constantly need so much from us. Now, a social rest deficit occurs when we fail to differentiate between those relationships that lift us up, those relationships that revive us, from those relationships that exhaust us. To experience more social rest, the invitation is to surround ourselves with more people that support us, more positive people, people that we just enjoy spending time with. For those people in our lives that may inherently need more from us, such as our children or our spouses, we are encouraged to be aware of the dynamics, to just recognize the dynamics that are happening so that we don't spend all of our time pouring ourselves into them, but to actually allow them to pour themselves into us at times, to revive us. And sometimes it's us saying, oh, no. But we need to allow that. The final type of rest is spiritual rest. Spiritual rest is the ability to connect beyond the physical, mental, and emotional and feel a deep sense of belonging, a deep sense of love, a deep sense of acceptance, and a deep sense of purpose. To experience this, the invitation is for each of us to engage in something greater than ourselves, and to add prayer, meditation, contemplation, or community involvement to our daily routine. Our theme this year is living in everyday wonder. And nothing is more wonderful than resting in the divine, resting in the one through powerful spiritual practice. Nothing is more wonderful than that. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Spiritual experience comes in the stillness of the soul when the outer voice is quiet. It is a quickening of the inner being into an eternal reality." So this quickening is a door to a mystical experience. A door to a mystical experience that shows us that we are all one. That everything is God and that everything is love. Just feel the energy of that. This isn't something that can be taught. It can only be discovered through the path of sacred stillness, which extended periods of rest provide for us. It is times of quiet rest that we are most attentive, that we are most aligned, and that we are most attuned to the presence of the divinity that is within us and surrounding us. This kind of rest can give us a new perspective about ourselves and about our lives. It can assist us to slow down and to quiet our minds so that we can hear, actually hear what our inner wisdom is speaking to us, is downloading on our behalf. It brings us the peace that passes all understanding and empowers us to be a beneficial presence on the planet. A beneficial presence to everyone that we meet, everyone that we are in relationship with. In these kinds of moments of rest, the divine meets us exactly where we are, because that space is free from the busyness of the world. Through the quiet communion available in these moments of rest, our empty cups are once again filled to overflowing, and we are fully available to serve ourselves, to serve our immediate communities, and to serve the world. With all of that good available, why would we ever want to hold it back until a later point in time? A later point in time, especially as one as finite, at least in human form, as when I'm dead. Why would we want to wait? This week, the invitation is to explore the ways in which we can sink into the bliss of sustained rest. The invitation is to not wait until we are dead, but to schedule it now and hold it as sacred. Hold it as sacred. Nothing, absolutely nothing could be more important, and each and every single one of us is worth it. And so it is. So it is. Thank you. I just invite us to close our outer eyes and to turn within. To turn our attention away from the world of form, away from that world of busyness, away from that call, that race consciousness call that encourages us to work harder, work more, and turn our attention inward to the peace and the quiet and the calm and the stillness of our inner sanctuary. That space and place that I call God, that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt is within each and every one of us. To turn our attention, our focus, our intention on that stillness, on that ability to align with that stillness through a moment of rest. A quiet, sustained moment of rest in which we close our outer eyes and turn away from anything that is unlike that stillness, from anything that is pulling us away from that stillness, to turn away from anything that is in resistance to our belief that we are worthy of that time. That time to give ourselves, that time to turn away from production and busyness and turn toward allowing ourselves to really feel that rest, to really feel that stillness, to really feel that deep and abiding connection. I know that it is within each and every single one of us to say yes to rest, to choose it, a moment here and there or a sustained longer period of it, knowing that as we do so, we are more productive. We are more present with our family and friends. We are more capable of really being innovative, of really being creative, of really being someone that can problem solve through the challenges of our lives and open ourselves up to any divine revelation that may be coming, and to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we do this through rest. So I claim ease and grace for us around tapping into these 7 areas of rest, recognizing within ourselves when we are in a rest deficit in any one of them, and working to fill our cup. Put that oxygen on ourselves first, and then to address whatever it is from that space. I know that it is possible. I know that it is divinely ordained. The Sabbath has already been blessed. All we have to do is step into it. And I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. And so I release them into that law, fully expecting their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite each of us, whether here at Sophie's or online, to anchor this prayer for ourselves, for each other, for our community, and for the world, simply by saying, "And so it is." And so it is. Amen. Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the generous giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week when we offer financial support to this community to assist it to continue to be a beacon of light and love and warmth in the Greater Triangle area. Together we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and adds to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. There are several ways that you can give, and they're here on the screen. Visit our website at www.trianglecsl.org. Up in the upper right-hand corner of the first page is a little button that you click on, and it will take you to a place where you're able to do that. You can text the word GIVE using the following number, 919-230-8445, or you can mail your gift to our office at, to our PO Box at PO Box 4062, Cary, North Carolina, 27519. So I invite everyone to please take your gift, hold it against your heart, or simply your hand with an intention for this community or for the world, and let's say our offering affirmation in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. Blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing God is my source. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you all so very much for your gifts. And now please welcome back to the stage the awesome Miles and Letha Costin.
So we often like to do songs that you can sing along to, you know? And, we didn't really have anything right in our back pocket that went with the theme of I'll rest when I'm dead. But we do have one called Ain't No Grave. And, the lyrics, ain't no grave, gonna hold my body down. If you can get those words, we'll say that 3 times in the chorus, and you can just free yourselves to sing along and participate to your level of preference. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. No, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. head. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. When I hear that trumpet sound, gotta get up out of the ground. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. There ain't no grave gonna hold my body down.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you guys. I love audience participation. So, all right. So, if anyone would like prayer, please go to our website at trianglecsl.org. On the homepage, there is a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all this powerful spiritual support in whatever it is you're praying for. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone or anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. Please join us later today for a follow-up community meeting from 2:30 to 4 p.m. on Zoom. You know, we had one a month ago, and it was so great to hear new ideas and new energy and new possibilities for how we're going to move our forward center as things start to open up more. So today's meeting will be an opportunity to expand upon that conversation that we began last time, to hear about the research that's been done already, and to co-create a committee and design our next steps. So we hope that all of you all will participate in that, because it's an exciting time of new possibility for our center. All right, and then join us for a wine tasting here at Sophie's on Thursday evening, March 31st. The evening begins at 6:30 with a wine tasting. 4 different wonderful wines and 4 different delicious appetizers, and an amazing experience facilitated by an excellent sommelier. The cost is only $20 per person. Such a deal. And that's just the beginning, because after that, we're going to have a karaoke session at 8 o'clock. So the wine tasting is just for our community and is limited to the first 25 people to register. So you don't want to miss it. So get your email into Heather at info@csl.org or TCSL. Okay. All right. Then we also invite you to join Reverend Ryan Pulley on Saturday, April 2nd from 9 to 11 for a workshop addressing grief. The workshop is called Good Grief. Good grief? Is that even possible? Does grief serve a purpose? The experience of loss and grief is one that invites and sometimes drags us on a journey to a greater awareness of our true self. It creates a unique opportunity for profound insights to be discovered. This is not to say that that road is always easy. Often it is rocky and fraught with turns and mislabeled paths. But the invitation is to take a chance, pack a bag, and uncover beauty where you never thought possible. In this workshop, we will explore myths associated with grief and their impact, ways we can embrace grief as a natural process, ways we can find meaning in the face of grief and loss, how we can begin the process of integration through self-exploration, rebuilding, renewal, and transformation, and tools for the continued journey. The workshop will be on Zoom and is a love offering base. So, another great opportunity for, because all of us have been through a lot. past couple of years. And so that's another thing we do in community is come together to work through our challenges as well as to celebrate our social and joyful activities. All right, and then join us as we celebrate Earth Day. After a 2-year hiatus, our first outreach project will be on Saturday, April 23rd. We will once again be nurturing Mother Earth at CASA, a residential housing program in downtown Raleigh. We will be volunteering from 9 a.m. until noon, beautifying the property by raking, mulching, picking up debris, and planting flowers. We will also be supporting their residents by providing each of them with a spaghetti meal. Each basket will include 2 boxes of spaghetti, 2 jars of sauce, Parmesan cheese, a baguette of bread, small colander, and a pack of napkins. Please consider supporting this project by volunteering to work, donating the meal items, or both for your maximum opportunity. Maya Lisa brought in a beautifully decorated, very festive box to collect your food offerings here at Sophie's. So that's here, and I think it'll be here next week too for the donated food items. But you can mail Maya Lisa at let's see, I think it's Maya Presley at yahoo.com or Susan Krupa at spirit727 at att.net. So if you'd like to volunteer or if you need to make some other arrangements for getting us your donated things, talk to Maya Lisa or Susan. So much going on. So now we're going to have our affirmations. So in the comfort of your own home or in this wonderful community at Sophie's, please stand. We're going to do this as a call and response. So I'll say it first and then you'll repeat. And you're going to say it with gusto, right? Because it's the energy you put behind it that makes these happen. Okay. I was created with an overflowing capacity for joy. When I live in the expression of joy, I am being my most God self. I make space within myself to really laugh, and the laughter reveals my wholeness. Ease and grace flow naturally as I live from this perspective. I turn away from the busyness of the world and consciously choose to tap into the sacred activity of play. I let go of the siren's call to overwork and consciously take time to rest. As I do so, I open the door to a mystical life of balance. Heaven is right where I am, and all is well. And so it is. Yay! All right, so let's close our eyes again for one last moment of that sacred silence. And I know my cup floweth over. And knowing that we are all connected, I know that that's true for everyone who got to be blessed enough to participate in today's service. So I know that it has been an experience of wisdom, of joy, of love, and of new steps for coming even more closely connected with my divine voice, my divine spirit, my divine purpose. And I know that that is true for everyone who participated in today's service. So I know that we will embrace this new opportunity to increase our connection with spirit through sacred rest in 7 different realms, which is magnificent. So, knowing that everything has unfolded perfectly and that we will be seeing the fruits of today's service in the days and weeks to come, I simply turn it over to the universe that always says yes and ask you to join me with our proclamation, and so it is.
Thank you all so very much for being here, for inviting us into your homes. Have a magnificent rest of this beautiful day, a great week, and remember that prayer works, so keep engaging in it. I love you all. Have a great day.